If you shoot video, the one thing that cinema cameras, mirrorless cameras, action cams, and cell phones have in common is that they all get better audio if you use something like this. So here's a test using the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and I'm using the phone's internal microphone to record the audio. And here's another test. I'm now using this almost invisible wireless lavalier microphone, and ask yourself whether this better audio makes a meaningful difference to the overall quality of the video. All right, so this is the Lark M2S from Hollyland. It's an unbelievably small and light wireless microphone. It's super easy to use, and it's a great option for vloggers, YouTubers, or anyone who wants to easily get better audio for their videos. The full system can work with cameras, cell phones, and action cams, plus there are several combos available depending on your specific needs. You always get 2 clip-on transmitters with built-in microphones, and then your choice of receiver. So I'm using the combo package, which has a camera receiver, a USB-C receiver, which works with all the current phones like the S24 Ultra, the iPhone 16 Pro, and the Pixel 9 Pro. And it also works with a laptop or something like my Osmo Pocket 3. And then you also get a USB-C to Lightning cable for older iPhones. Now, you've probably seen me use the previous version, the Lark M2, in my day in the life videos. But this newer version is smaller. The transmitters only weigh 7 grams, and the microphone is on the smaller part of the clip, so it's even less visible. Now, regardless of which package you choose, you get a charging case, and I really like how the mics and the transmitters now fit into the case, and the case is charged with a single USB-C cable. Now, just like with the previous version, as soon as I took the transmitters with the mics out of the case, they immediately paired with whichever receiver I had plugged in, and they were instantly ready to use. There's no messing around with Bluetooth settings, no pairing, you're just good to go. Now, also, the USB-C receiver doesn't require any power at all. It gets its power from the device that it's being plugged into, and there is a USB-C port on the receiver itself, so you can actually charge your device while the receiver is plugged in. So let's start with a couple of phone tests, and as a note, no processing has been done to any of the audio samples. So starting out with the phone comparison, we're going to use the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and this is using the internal microphone on the phone. And now I'm using the Lark M2S. All I did was plug in the receiver. It automatically detected the transmitter and started recording better audio. And now I'm still using the Lark M2S, but what I did was turn on noise cancellation to see if it makes a difference. And now I'm using the Galaxy S24 Ultra, and this is what it sounds like when I'm using the phone's internal microphone. And now I'm using the Lark M2S, and I love how small the visual footprint of the microphone is. And this is the final Galaxy S24 Ultra test, but now I'm using noise cancellation to remove some of the background noise. All right, so the last phone test is with the Pixel 9 Pro, and again, just like with the other 2 phones, I'm going to start with the phone's internal microphone. And now I'm using the Lark M2S, and I'm curious to also know which of the 3 phone samples you like best. All right, and now the final test with the Pixel 9 Pro, this time using noise cancellation, which again is a great feature when you're on the go. Now, one note about the Pixel is that it required me to select the wireless microphone option in order for it to not use the built-in microphone. That's not something I had to do on any other phone. Now, moving on, getting better audio is not just something that you need to think about if you're using a phone. I get a lot of questions about which gear to use, and there are a ton of excellent options out there. But regardless of what camera you use, what lenses or lighting options you go with, don't neglect your audio. All right, so here I am using the Sony a7S III. This is the camera that I use for most of the content that I'm creating. I'm going to start out using the camera's internal microphone, and the camera is about 6 feet away from me. And now I switched over to the Lark M2S. I've got the camera receiver attached to the cold tree of the camera, and then it's connected with a TRS to TRS cable, and hopefully this is a pretty noticeable difference. And now I went ahead and activated noise cancellation. There is a button on the transmitter that I can press, or a button on the receiver, and again, this should help remove some of the background noise, and that's a feature that I use every time for my day in the life videos. Moving on, this time around, Hollyland decided to go with a clip mounting system. So I just put it right over my collar, making sure that the smaller part, the one with the microphone, is on the outside. And I love that there's no logo or anything to distract the viewer. Now, one of the things I run into all the time when I'm filming outside is wind. And if you have any experience with this, you know that it'll absolutely ruin your video. So I like that there are 2 included dead cats or windscreens to help deal with this problem. All right, so the first wind test is just using the iPhone with the built-in microphone. And now we're using the Lark M2S. The wind really picked up, and so I'm sure you can hear it. All right, and here's another test. Now we have the dead cat on. It does give me a larger footprint for the microphone, but if I have to choose between a larger footprint or better audio, I'm always gonna choose the better audio. And now here's a final test. I have the Lark M2S, obviously I have the dead cat on, and I have noise cancellation on. The wind is blowing super hard, and so it'll be super interesting to see if we can hear it or not. I also wanted to do a quick test checking the range on this microphone. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is a distance test. So I'm gonna go ahead and walk away from the phone. And remember that as I'm walking away, my body is actually blocking the signal. So let's see what happens. And I'll go ahead and try to walk all the way to the end of this parking lot. I'll actually have no idea when the signal gets lost, but again, it doesn't really matter. I'm already farther away from the camera than I will ever be. So this isn't necessarily a feature that I find super useful for the type of videos that I shoot, but it does actually give you a lot of flexibility. You don't have to have someone with a mic and a boom. Sometimes when you're doing wide angle shots, you actually can't even do that. So this really gives you a ton of creative freedom. And I'm getting pretty far away from the camera. I have no idea if it's still working or not, but I'm gonna just continue to walk until probably the end of this path, and then I'll turn around. And if at some point the signal is lost on this, it'll be interesting to see when it picks it back up when I turn around. So I actually thought that I was gonna walk a little bit up to that, but I'm gonna get right here. I'm not even sure if you can still see me over here, and I wonder if right now it picked this signal back up. It's freezing outside. I know you can see all the snow. It's like 28 degrees. I always cry for some reason when it's this cold outside, so I'm very excited to get back to the camera and then be able to get into the car and warm up. I'm sure that at this point the signal, even if it was lost, was picked back up. I do have the dead cat on, both because I'm moving and I'm actually walking right into the wind. I'm sure you can hear in my voice just how cold it is. And here's a car driving by, so it'll be interesting to see how much of that noise is blocked. I'm not sure if noise cancellation is turned on or not. I don't think that it is. I will put on the screen so you'll know whether noise cancellation was on or off this entire time. I'm getting super close. You're gonna see my eyes tearing when I get close to the phone, but this was worth it. And if you can't hear the wind here, then it's just not something that you're ever gonna need to worry about because it's absolutely blasting. Now I want to talk about a few other features and give you some practical advice. With the charging case, which we talked about, this setup is rated for 30 hours of working time, which is a ton, and the whole setup charges to full capacity in less than an hour and a half. The camera receiver has a rotating toggle to easily control gain or volume level, and you can single press it to toggle noise cancellation on or off. You can also long press it for 3 seconds to switch modes from mono to stereo recording, depending on whether you want each transmitter to go to its own channel or if you want them combined. Now, a few new features that I'm super glad Hollyland added is that you can single press the power button to lock the volume level. So if you inadvertently rotate the dial, it won't mess with your levels. You can double press the power button to toggle mute on or off, and you can long press it for 3 seconds if you want to power the receiver off or back on. Now, I can also use the Lark M2S with my Osmo Pocket 3, which I use a lot when I'm walking around. And this gives me 24-bit audio from up to 2 sources, and I can connect it directly to my Osmo Pocket 3 or to the optional battery pack. Now, if you're using the USB-C receiver, you can also use the Lark Sound app, which is super useful. It automatically detects that the receiver is plugged in, as well as when any of the microphones are paired. And now that you're paired, you can see charging level for each microphone, you see audio levels, you can enable and disable noise cancellation, as well as whether to use the high or low settings. You can select one of the 3 volume level settings. You can schedule a 15-minute power off when the mic is not paired. And there's a super important feature. You can adjust channel mode. So this was previously only available on the camera receiver of the Lark M2, but now you can record in mono or stereo even when you're using the USB-C receiver. And that means that you can record an interview with 2 people. One transmitter will go to channel 1, the other one will go to channel 2, and that means that you can adjust them separately in post. So who is the Lark M2S for? Remember that there are different packages ranging from $119 for the USB-C version all the way to $149 for the combo version. So pick the one that best fits your needs. I've got links to everything in the description. And the Lark M2S is an excellent option for content creators who want better audio in various conditions with a small visual footprint, a simple, convenient plug-and-play system, and great battery life. Hopefully this video was helpful. You know what I always say, buy it nice or buy it twice. Good luck and see you soon.